This is Kevin Pruitt with Rising Tide Startups, and my guest today is Jaime J. Jaime, thank you for joining us on a frigid night in Richmond, Virginia. I wonder how cold it is in Springfield, Missouri.
Well, it did warm up today. It got up to about 16, 17, I think, for a while.
Heat wave.
It's chilled off a little bit since then, but yeah, it's been a while. I grew up in Alaska, so
oh yeah, you're probably wearing shorts.
You got to be used to the cold. No. It's freaking cold.
I thought if you grew that thing that looks like ZZ Top, then maybe you could stay warm. But Jaime, tell our listeners, just give us a little background on who Jaime J is.
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, Kevin, thank you so much for having me on the Rising Tide. I love that name. It's fantastic.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I didn't come up with it. I think I stole it somewhere. So yeah.
Yeah. I didn't come up with the name of mine either. It was highly suggested, but so a little bit of background. My name is Jaime J. I'm the managing director and founder of a company called Bottleneck Virtual Assistants, where we help stop the bottleneck in your business by outsourcing human capital, highly skilled human capital, to help companies scale and just leverage their time, which I feel is most important. And I kind of got started in this whole thing about 13 years ago in 2006. I sourced my first VAs from the Philippines. I had an advertising agency, and I didn't know anything about magazines. We published a magazine. I had to figure out how to lay that out, and I didn't know anything. And my partner, we were in California at the time, and he moved from the Philippines and said, "Hey, we should do this." And I said, "What is that?" Never heard of it before, and haven't looked back since. I failed several times in my life, but that venture in 2006 was the first time I left the comfort of corporate America. And I have to tell you, it was the scariest thing of my that I did just about in my life. But I am so glad I did. I'm so glad I've stumbled and failed so many times, because it's definitely taught me the lessons that I needed to learn. And I'm a little bit slower than most, so
quite a ride. So you said 2006 is when you made the shift. So that's a number of years ago. So take us back to that point in 2006. Who were you working for? Or you don't have to name the company, but I mean, what were you doing, and what industry were you in? And walk us through the kind of this transition, this aha moment you had.
Sure. After leaving the military in 1994, I didn't really know what I was doing with my life. And I got out, literally had $384 to my name, went through a divorce when I first got back. It was just not a good situation. Ended up moving back to Huntington Beach, California. And I was staying with some friends of mine, and one of my friends said, "Hey, you can get a job with me as a waiter." So I went and started waiting tables, and started out that way. And it was okay to start, but then I got an offer from another friend to go work in corporate America, and it was office equipment, selling office equipment, and it was for a company called Pitney Bowes.
I was going to say it has to be Pitney Bowes.
Yeah, it was Pitney Bowes, and I really got into that industry. Was loving it. Suit and tie, and all the fancy stuff. I went on, and over the course of the next probably, I don't know, I would say about 10 years, maybe not 10 years, maybe about 8 or 9 years, I went on and moved, same similar industry, but different companies, Toshiba, Kyocera. And every time I left and went to a new company, I'm thinking grass is greener, things are going to be great. And I'm not saying that corporate America is bad. If that's your deal, that's your deal. I have, my nickname in corporate America was JT, for Jaime time, because I hated the meetings. It was very, everything, quota, money, how much can it was all, people had the shiny fancy watches and the fast looking, Corvettes and the cars and all that. And while I think a lot of that is cool, and if that's your game, that's your game, that just wasn't me.
Right.
And I have one suit now. I donated all my suits to Goodwill. I'm just not a suit and tie person. And then when I left the office equipment environment, and thankfully, I got to tell you, my bosses were awesome. I learned a ton, but it just wasn't me. And so
Yeah.
I thought,
Yeah.
I need to be creative, you know? I don't ever know if you saw that. It was a Mark Wahlberg movie, and I think Will Ferrell was in it. And they were two cops,
Oh yeah.
and
I
Mark
love that
Wahlberg
movie.
goes, "I'm a peacock, man. Let me fly." That was me. And so I
Exactly.
went into radio, and I
Yeah.
thought, man, now I get to be
Well,
creative.
that's
Oh,
why you got this cool studio.
yeah, right.
Harkening back to your radio days. There you go.
So I did that thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be so fun. I get to create stuff and just do whatever. And it turned out there was even more red tape in radio,
Mm,
working for, uh, pretty big companies. Um, and my hands were tied.
yep.
If I had a great idea. I did this thing. There used to be a show out called Pimp My Ride.
Hmm.
And I had an idea because I worked for Mega 100, which was a kind of an oldie station at the time, which is 70s and 80s, which is kind of funny. But I thought, let's do Megamize My Ride. And what I do is go out and get a bunch of sponsors. We'd go and we'd find all these people that just had challenging lifestyles. The winner of this competition, actually, she was beat by her husband.
Mm.
She had 2 kids, and we went out. I got all the sponsors to redo her 1967 Mustang.
Wow.
Did it, and I thought, this is so cool. Tried to do another project, and the lawyers get involved, and I'm just like, that's it. I'm done.
Done.
I got to go and do my own deal. I'm a
Something
peacock, man.
snapped, and you thought, I'm a peacock. That's right. I'm a peacock. I think sometime though, during our interview, you're going to need to do an office pop, because that's and it's a real thing.
Spot, man, they said.
Of course, it's it's definitely a real thing. So there's actually a lady at work for not this. Yeah, I'm not even going to go there. I was going to say another line about by Sheila. Yeah, her name is Sheila, and I tease her about that. But for great different reasons. But anyway, let's touch on the the whole idea of shifting into walking out the door of corporate America and starting your own thing. What was the first thing you did when you made that transition? Was it the virtual assistant agency, or was it
No?
as a marketing?
Yeah. I actually went off on my own to start an SEO agency back when SEO wasn't SEO, really.
Right.
And
called something else even maybe at the time.
Yeah, I was actually, my first client was my corporate company.
Oh, sure.
So that radio station.
That happens often.
Yeah. So I had a really good relationship with them. I'm always been very transparent. I always let people know. Sometimes they don't like me to be that honest, and sometimes I need to learn to keep my mouth shut. But at the same time, if I didn't do that at that point, something was going to happen. Something was going to crack. I had just recently lost my little brother, who was involved in a motorcycle accident, and I was just a mess. And I needed to do something to just. I couldn't just be sitting, being a machine. There was no way I was going to look at. I saw people there that were there for 30 years, and that was not going to be me.
Yep.
So I did it. I made the leap. It was scary as all get out, and thank the Lord, I did, and I struggled a ton, but Lord Almighty, I'm so happy I did.
So so many people talk about, making that leap. They're going, okay, I've got to make a certain amount of money because I've got to offset kind of my salary from my day job or get close to it or whatever. But I don't hear them talk as often about, how do you minimize your expenses on the other side of that equation too? So, how do you work on both of those? I mean, when you stepped out, did you kind of have in your mind, or did you just walk out the door? Or did you have in your mind, hey, I know that I can make, a certain amount of money or I'm just going to reduce my outgoing expenses as to the bare minimum. We're going to eat a lot of ramen noodles. We're going to, I'm going to sleep in my car. I'm going to make this work. But so what was kind of in your mindset? Because I think a lot of people that are considering that move, they need to think through these things, and it's good to hear people that have actually made the transition successfully. So what was your thought process there?
A great question. And if I went back to my 21-year-old self right now, I'd slap myself silly for doing some of the crazy things I did. Right now,
would.
yeah, right. Not that I regret, because I appreciate them as learning experiences now. But still, come on, Jamie, what the heck was wrong with you sometimes? I did not do it the way I would do it today. That is one thing. I was good about telling the powers that be what my goals, what my plans were, and they didn't want me to leave. I was doing good. I was selling. I was, in Toshiba, I was ranked 27th in the nation out of like 18,000.
Wow.
So I was doing great, but it just wasn't me. I always had a good relationship and a strong work ethic. However, I kind of just left. I let them know, and I had a couple little things going, but nowhere near. So my income was definitely going to drop pretty big. Sure. So that was good because I was motivated to get out there and hustle, and I was younger. So I had that motivation gumption going. Not that I don't today, but I had a lot of energy. And so I didn't really plan the way I would plan today as far as what that transition would look like. Right. I was looking down at my feet and saw that next step. I didn't look up I didn't do any of that. Right. Thankfully, the relationships that I had, I was able to pull through it. But those next couple of years were pretty challenging. Yep. It was really hard.
But you probably learned a ton.
Oh my
just
Lord.
Kind of hard knock, the street education you received in the next 2 years.
It was fantastic. And I'm really big on surrounding myself with people that I really respect, that are doing things way bigger and better than I've ever even dreamt of. And thankfully, I had a couple really good friends. Yep. It got low sometimes. I remember one time I had no money. I was living in an apartment that eventually I lost because it was a real estate-based ad agency that we started, and the crash came. Yep. I lost all my clients in 3 months.
Yep.
I was
2008.
100%. It was literally 2009 when I lost the apartment, but I had to call up a buddy of mine that lived in Modesto. I was in Sacramento at the time, and he drove 2 hours or whatever it was to bring me a bag of groceries so I could eat. It was amazing. Wow. So those are the type of people that I'm talking about. So big shout out to you, Tony Avila. I mean, you thank you. You saved me. And so it's people like that. The people, there's tons of people hanging around me when I'm doing good, but it's the people when I'm down. That's the true blue. And so it was really cool to have that. And that's what kept me moving along. And I vowed after that if I ever founded a new business, that number one, I found out the first thing to go when a financial crisis hits is the advertising budgets. The second thing to go is your staff. People start letting people go. Yep. So I wanted to cover both of those to be as recession proof as possible. Right. So that's a big reason why Bottleneck Virtual Assistant means so much to me, because I see people out there and they thank me all the time for helping them leverage their time and be able to scale in a certain way that's way more cost effective than the traditional means you and I and most people are familiar.
Sure. And that's a great segue into my next question is let's come to modern day day-to-day operations of a virtual assistant agency. I mean, so let's assume we know zero about virtual assistants. So give me your sales pitch. I mean, I've got a company, small company. I've got some gaps and that need to be outsourced in some capacity or potentially could be. So we hop on an elevator, we're going up 10 floors. You got a minute. Give me your tell me what a virtual assistant is and how it can help me.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity. So basically what a virtual assistant is, it's assistance in any capacity from administrative to website to graphic design, anything, but they do the work from a remote location. And it's in essence, it's kind of like human capital that you can leverage so that you can concentrate on the things that really matter. For instance, I love doing these interviews, right? No one else on my team can do these interviews. And I do podcasting too. Right. I love interviewing. I do not like the editing. I don't like the show. I don't like so all of that gets outsourced. So I literally spend an hour doing the interview and then I send everything to the team and they take the additional 3 or 4 hours that's needed for each episode to market it and do all that stuff. That, in essence, is what a virtual assistant can do or help you with. Or heck, if you have a personal assistant, you want to travel, they can book your tickets. I'm looking to change banks. So my personal assistant went and she put on the Excel spreadsheet she knew exactly what I was looking for, put all the different banks on there. She phoned them, gave me a contact, all of that. I didn't have to worry about it. I have a nice little list. I didn't have to waste my time doing that.
Right.
I could spend my time talking with you, talking with clients, and planning for bigger and better things for the company.
Now, are the Bottleneck virtual assistants, are they all based overseas or some based in the States? I mean, where's the location? Is it a specific location?
So it's the majority of them, and by majority, I mean like 99% of them will be in the Philippines.
Okay.
We've been sourcing over there since 2006. We have an incredible relationship. The team that we have here of 14 are in the Philippines and 2 are here in the States.
Okay. There was a podcast that I listened to. I used to listen to a lot of podcasts, 2 or 3 years ago, and then I thought, I can do this. Not that I'm capable of doing it, but I love them so much, and I'm running out of content, so I'm gonna have to create some so I can actually listen to more. But there was a guy named, he was from the UK, Michael Ducker.
Chris Ducker.
Chris Ducker, that's what his name is, like Upreneur guy or something.
Yeah, Chris Ducker.
Does his is a similar model to you, right? Or is his a different type of agency? Because I know he's based in the Philippines some and in the UK some. So
yeah, he has a different model. He goes out and sources. That's it, and then he's done.
Okay.
What we do here at Bottleneck is I will never say we're better than anybody else ever, but I'll say we're different.
Mm-hmm.
We've learned a lot of things in the past that we've had to change, obviously,
Sure.
course correction and all that. But what we do is we go out and source, we vet, and we also provide the assistance, but we're the vendor.
Right. So I would contract with you, and you would find one of your staff, in essence, would serve as the outsourced,
Exactly.
producer of whatever that capacity was. But everything would be through you. I wouldn't be doing this on my own. I think there's some safety in that. I think there's some security on both sides. I mean, not only on my side as the client, but on your side as the service provider, that you can control training a little better. You can control the flow. You can control the quality control and those types of things. So I really like the way that you've done this. Is there some reason, this is kind of just a question of maybe just sheer ignorance, but is there a reason that the Philippines is the kind of the home of virtual assistants versus, say, India or Sri Lanka or fill in the blank, Kenya, other English speaking locations?
Yeah, so I love this question. I'm a big fan of the Filipino culture. They have tremendously big hearts. They're very gifted. But one of the main reasons that I continue going back to the Philippines, and I've done it in probably 6, 7, 8 different countries: Germany, Bosnia, Ukraine, Poland, UK, Canada, and the U.S. Don't get me wrong, U.S. is amazing. We're expensive.
Yeah, we are.
The economics are way different between here and the Philippines. If you look at maybe a house for rent for $1,500 here, it's going to cost you $300 a month in the Philippines.
Yep.
And it's not that. Oh my gosh, we're running sweatshops. That's not it at all. It's a difference in the economy.
Sure.
Here's the thing.
Salaries are different too. Yeah.
100%. They're different. But if you look in the Philippines, what I really like about it, and what makes Bottleneck a little bit different too, is I consider Bottleneck a premium service.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is we pay our VAs more than most.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that because when we source our VAs, we source college graduates. And why is that? 100% of the universities in the Philippines are taught in English.
Yep.
All their signs are in English. They have so many different dialects. Oftentimes, Filipino, one dialect for another dialect, they may not understand, and they'll converse in English.
Right.
So it's very prevalent. And the other thing is we offer a 3-tier vetting process. the first thing we do is look for speaking, reading, and writing in English. More importantly, comprehension. Second thing is tech. They're improving their technology all the time. It is an island. I understand that. They have the slowest internet speeds in the world in the Philippines.
I don't know. Mine's been pretty slow tonight.
Yeah.
We've been battling that for our listeners. Yeah.
But it's really cool. And the third thing is we do disc profiles. And disc profiles are very powerful ways of finding out someone's strengths and perhaps even more importantly, their weaknesses.
Right.
And one of the things that I struggle with myself, and I hate it, but I'm not great at following up, and I'm not great at details. I always have so many things going on.
You're the idea guy. Of course you are.
Yeah, right. And so I went.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So that's why I went and I've been blessed to have such an amazing team surround me, and they excel, they enjoy, they love the details, they love the research, they love the data, they love the editing, they love the publishing, and that's just not me. So why the Philippines? Because of their passion, because of their speaking capabilities, because of their commitment to excellence, and they're very, very motivated. And I don't have to say, what'd you say?
Right.
All the time.
Yeah. And you don't, and I mean, they know that, this is a much sought after position, that you're offering, with Bottleneck. So, I mean, they certainly have the work ethic and the commitment to make it work, because it probably is, in their context, it's a very stable, employment for them to have, and you're right. The times that we worked with people in the Philippines, India as well. I mean, just the quality of work, just the intelligence, I mean, they speak English better than I do. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, and it might be their second, third language.
It's
just like
ESL, English as a second language.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly right. That is not their mother tongue for sure.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Well, let's shift right now into a kind of a new thing that we're trying on Rising Tide Startups. I'm really excited about hearing this from you, because in our little pre-chat you said you were ready to go. So I am anxious to hear this time. But this is a segment that we're calling the Rising Tide micro course. So really, it's just a 2 or 3 step, just a really short segment, but just really highlight what your service is, or somebody that wants to hire a VA, or somebody that wants to use your services, just to kind of give them a little bit of a teaser on what that looks like. And you give it a title and you do the points. You've got the floor. You're the professor for our short mini lecture here. So I want to really leave our listeners with value here at the end of our chat here. So take it away, Jaime.
Thank you. What a great idea, by the way. So one of the biggest concerns or challenges people have, the first thing is knowing whether or not they're even ready to hire a virtual assistant. Can they afford it? What do I need to do? People don't know what they don't know. And there's a simple solution that is very time consuming, I will say, but a simple solution to finding out whether or not you're ready to hire somebody, and then secondly, how to do it effectively.
Right.
So the first thing is, how do you know if you're ready? There's a couple signs. Are you running late? Are you working late? Do you miss meetings? Do you forget things? Are you canceling family trips, or are you having to reschedule fun things? Going bowling, going to the movies? Are you calling to say, to your spouse and saying, hey, I'm going to be home late, or whatever it may be? These are all signs that you're working really hard, and chances are you're ready for some support from a highly skilled candidate that's often referred to as human capital, so that you can leverage your time more effectively. So how is this done? A great way to prepare for this is what we call, and thank you, Scott Beebe, he is the man from Business on Purpose. He was a big help to me. I'm a huge systems and processes geek. I think if you're going to ask me in the future, I think you're going to do this. I hope I'm not spoiling anything, but one of my favorite quotes or mantras is do something as if it's the last time you're ever going to do it. And basically what that means is anything that you do, and you repeat it often, checking your email, doing anything like that, write down every single step that you do. Start here. This is the very first thing you got to do. And the reason why is because so many people that hire somebody, it doesn't work out. People will come to me all the time and say, hey, I want to hire a rock star. I'm so busy. I don't have time to do it. Just find a rock star for me. And I say, whoa, stop. Whoa, Nelly. What kind of systems do you have in place for training? With systems, no, I want somebody that knows how to do all of this. Well, I can go out and find the best video editor in the entire world, but if I don't have a system and process, a set of my expectations, how in the world are they going to be able to perform a job up to my level of expectation?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's where writing it down is, the workflows, all of that stuff. And we do this through what we call as a delegation roadmap. Step one. In the delegation roadmap, you write down every single task that you do in a given day. Everything. Do you take the trash out? Do you make a phone call? Do you check your emails? Do you do social media? Every single task. And what you do is you assign 2 values to each one of those tasks. The first value is this something that gives me energy, or does it drain the living daylights out of me? The second thing is, okay, now that we know if it gives me energy or not, is this something I must do? Like in this case, you have to host the show. It's your show. Or is this something you can delegate to someone else who can perform that task at least 80% as good as you do? That leads me to step 2. What's really nice after you finish that list, and spend some time on this, seriously, take an hour, a day, break down, stop, go the next day, another hour, and complete those tasks. Step 2 is take all of the tasks now that do not give you energy and you can delegate, and you plug them into a job roles and responsibility. This does 2 things for you. Actually, it does 3. Primarily for the job roles and responsibility, you're going to feel amazingly organized now. Second thing is, you're going to have an idea whether or not this job role can be done by 1 or more people. The golden goose rule, right? If you're having a writer, they're not going to, that's going to write a blog for you. They cannot build a website for you, and vice versa. So that helps you identify what roles and responsibilities you have, and you can prioritize against that. The third thing is you're now prepared to interview somebody, and they know exactly what's expected of them. So this is huge. Those are the first 2 things you can do. And it goes on, but you can go through, set up a meeting agenda, right? We have templates for all this stuff. So set up an agenda, and what happens in a meeting. So many meetings in my corporate life went on for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And what did we get done? Nothing. So be very intentional about the way that you set up your meeting agenda, and better yet, the action items. First half of the meeting, what happened this past week? Did we accomplish all of our goals? The ones that we didn't, why not? How do we help each other accomplish these tasks? The second half of the meeting, okay, these are the tasks that are left over from the previous week. Let's focus on getting these done. Plus, these are the things that need to get done. And then get your team or get your assistant involved, get them motivated, and give them the confidence to play within the boundaries of a certain job role. So you're not micromanaging them, you're kind of letting them work, but they have certain boundaries. And as long as you can do something like that, those are the first 3 things I recommend that'll completely let you know whether or not you're ready to hire now or you need to wait a little bit. Most importantly, if anybody has ever sold a business and the valuations are high, chances are that not only maybe they have a customer base or not, but they have systems in place.
Right.
It's very easy to hand that off.
I mean, every McDonald's franchise has a manual,
Doesn't matter. You go to West Coast or East Coast, you're getting a big
right.
Yeah.
Same book. So touch on those points again, just the bullet points.
First one is a delegation roadmap.
Yep.
List out all of the tasks that you have. And the second thing is a job roles and responsibility. And the third thing is prepare your meetings in advance.
Right. Now this is after, I mean, the meetings that you're talking about are meetings that you're having with your VA
100%
to make sure that the work's getting done. So let me take a step, just pre-entry in essence. So if I have a company, if I'm a solo startup or whatever, and I'm coming to Bottleneck. So you and I are going to meet. What's the first thing that we're going to do? Are you going to start sending or asking me to go through some assessments and do some inventory, self-inventory and stuff like that? And at what point in time am I contracted with you? You can't work for free. So where does it begin? Where does the contract part or, the agreement, the business agreement begin in that process?
Thank you. This is fantastic. So someone will figure out that, hey, I've heard about this VA thing. I'm going to go check it out. And if you Google virtual assistant companies, we show up on the first page. So
right.
You can go check us out. But there's a lot of other great companies out there. I highly recommend too, by the way, do your homework, because there's different companies out there. Like I said, there's better. It's not all about that. It's about differences. And our company may not be a good fit for you. If you come work with us, we want to be able to give you a dedicated virtual assistant that's going to grow with your company. So we ask for a minimum of a 20-hour-a-week commitment. Mm-hmm. Other companies won't do that. You can go project-based. And that's a great way to dip your feet in the water, right. Just to kind of figure out kind of how the virtual assistants can help you. So do your homework, first thing. So what they'll do is they'll book a time with us. They'll fill out our form. They get a link to book a time. And we have what we call is an initial consultation. This initial consultation is usually scheduled anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes. And we just get an idea of what their challenges are, what their business is kind of like. We do the research in advance, but it's either myself or one of our account managers that will do this consultation, and we just get an idea of where they're at. And hey, is this even a good idea for you? And I will be the first person to let you know that this is probably not a good idea for you at this time. However, here's some resources you can use to kind of help get you there.
Right.
So what we do is we charge a one-time initial sourcing fee, mm-hmm. which is $500. Mm-hmm. And what we'll do for every opportunity, we'll usually get 20 to 30 applicants. And instead of you, again, leveraging your time, instead of you going and interviewing 20 different people, we're going to go through the 3-tiered vetting process.
Right.
We're going to meet with them, and we're going to whittle that down to 3 candidates for you. Right. And then you'll interview those 3 candidates. After that, you pick one, and you do what we call a confirmation interview. Mm-hmm. And that confirmation interview, the first 3 interviews, by the way, are moderated. So we make sure that you're informed. We send you out resumes, results of their DISC profiles, right. Things like that. Once you choose, you go and you do a confirmation interview, and that's just you and the VA. And you can take 10 minutes, you can take an hour. It's up to you. We recommend and encourage you to get to know them a little bit better, mm-hmm. and then assign a task to them, and then give them a deadline. Mm-hmm. And this will let you know, okay, first of all, they are doing something and I like it. It's up to my level of expectation. Second thing is they can do what they say they can do. And the third thing is they do it in a timely manner. And then when you're ready to go from there, and this process from when the first consultation to the interview takes about 7 to 10 days.
Okay. Are they being paid when I give them this initial task? Am I paying them by the hour? No. This is still kind of pre-contract.
Yeah, and we ask to keep it, 20 minutes.
Sure.
Sure. If it's a social media post or you write a blog, or just keep it, within reason. But you need to get a good idea of, can they do the work that they say they can do? Right. Right. So once you're done with that, you say, you know what, we're ready. Let's go. So we send you out the agreement. You sign off on the agreement. Our agreements are no long-term contracts. You can cancel anytime. Our agreements are basically glorified list of expectations. Mm-hmm.
But during like a memorandum of understanding between the two of
100%.
Yeah. So
MOU. Exactly.
That really is an effective way. I mean, I can see an argument for you wanting a minimum, level of commitment. I want 3 months or 6 months or whatever. But if you're thinking about that, I mean, that could also be some bad PR for you too. If it's just not a good fit, thinking this guy feels like he's trapped in a 3-month contract and it didn't work from day 2. There was something that could have been different. So we'll wrap it up. So where does this lead? Who's the ideal client for Bottleneck Assistance?
The ideal client is we have solopreneurs, entrepreneurs that are just stepping into their company is starting to grow. They're starting to have all these E-Myth revisited, right?
Right, exactly.
Perfect E-Myth revisited scenario. But also small businesses, 20 employees, 30 employees that are looking to scale or grow. I talked to a business owner today that was merging with a software development company, and they're looking for 17 positions to fill.
Wow.
So it can be, you know, a plethora of different things. It offers the entrepreneur, the business owner, the business leader, an opportunity to scale at a highly reduced rate with highly skilled candidates.
Right. What a great way to wrap up our little micro course. I mean, I love that. You know, highly skilled with highly skilled I mean, to wrap up, you know, outsourced tasks or whatever with highly skilled candidates. So, what a way to wrap it up. Well, how can people find you online?
You can search Bottleneck. You can go to bottleneck.online. I would encourage somebody. I want to challenge them to see if they're still there. Go to Google virtual assistant companies. We are written up, and we are the editor's choice in Blogger Local. So we're really excited about that. We've also been awarded as a top B2B company in Clutch out of over 25,000 other companies. We were awarded that. So we're really proud of that. We're proud of our less than 5% attrition rate. And you can just basically Google Bottleneck, and hopefully we'll pop up. We're on social media everywhere.
Plus, I see that you were written up in the Springfield Business Journal. And
I was.
Behind you.
Yes,
so yeah,
yes,
it brings back memories. Jamie's actually currently sitting in my hometown. So
hey, all right.
Or at least my college town, I'll put it that way.
Oh, so, MSU?
Yeah, my wife and I both went to Missouri State. So back when it was Southwest Missouri State.
Southwest, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Both of us are, we're proud graduates of
oh, that's fantastic.
Their university. So, well, Jamie, thank you again for your time tonight. It's been just a pleasure having you on, and I love, and it's been easy to feed off your enthusiasm. I can tell that not only is this a way to, you know, gainful employment for you, but man, you're all in. You live and breathe this, and I know that your employees, whether they're here or in the Philippines, certainly would benefit from sitting under that kind of leadership. But thank you for just sharing your wisdom and just adding value to our listeners and just playing your part in helping all boats rise in a rising tide. Jamie, thanks again.
Thank you so much.